So everyone will tell you that in order to manifest, you need to feel like you already have your desire before it is in your physical reality. But how do you feel like you have something that you don't already have? Most of the times when we're trying to manifest, it's because we're trying to shift our current circumstances. So how can we feel like we have something that our physical circumstances around us directly contradict? Hi everyone, my name's Georgia. I'm currently studying a master's degree in consciousness, spirituality and transpersonal psychology. And in my free time, I love to study manifestation. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about probably one of the hardest parts of manifesting, and that is how on earth can we feel a desire before we have it in our physical reality? This is definitely not the easiest thing to do because we tend to condition ourselves into a certain set of emotions which don't align with whatever it is that we're trying to manifest. However, I do think sometimes we overcomplicate this idea of having to feel the emotion of whatever it is that we desire. So in this video, I'm going to try and simplify that a bit and go through some of the theory and practically what it means to feel your desire before you have it. So as a prerequisite to being able to feel the feeling, I think it's very important to understand the theory behind manifestation, because when we understand the theory behind it, then we understand how it can be possible that our desire already exists despite not being in our physical reality before us. So the theory basically all boils down to quantum physics. So in quantum physics, there is something called a wave function. Basically, when we have a physical particle can act as both a particle and a wave. Now this is called wave-particle duality, and essentially when the particle is acting like a wave, that wave can be described by a wave function. And the wave function essentially describes all of the potential properties of that wave. So all of the potential positions of the electron, because think about a wave, right? A wave is like this. It doesn't have one position. The electron could be at any point on this wave, and the wave function basically describes the probability of finding it in each of these different positions. The wave function also describes the possibilities of many other properties of the electron. Position is just one example. But basically, the point is, when an electron is an electron in its physical form, then it has a finite position. But when the electron is acting like a wave, it doesn't have a finite position. It has many different potential positions. It's in a superposition of many different states. So in its wave form, the electron is somehow everywhere at once. Every possibility of that electron exists within its wave function. So this wave function that describes all of the possible states of the electron, its superposition of states, essentially collapses to create the physical particle. So we go from a state of having all of these potentialities of where and what that electron can be, to it becoming one finite thing. So we go from multiple states, multiple possibilities collapsing into one finite thing. So how does this apply to the law of attraction? I want you to think of the wave function as all of the potential realities that you can manifest. Imagine them all existing in the quantum field. They just haven't collapsed yet into one particular physical reality. Now, there are many interpretations of this phenomena in quantum physics, of this idea of the collapse of the wave function into a physical particle. And there are some interpretations that do actually think that the wave function doesn't collapse at all. An example of this is the many worlds interpretation. It basically argues that instead of the wave function collapsing, all of these different potentials just basically exist in different worlds. So every potential does exist, just in a different universe. However, the prevailing interpretation of what's happening in quantum physics is called the Copenhagen interpretation, and this does assume that the wave function does collapse into a physical particle. And there is a sub-interpretation of that that argues that it is consciousness that causes the wave function to collapse, which is basically what explains law of attraction, if it is correct. But the point is, through quantum physics, we know that all physical matter is made up of subatomic particles, and these subatomic particles, like electrons, also exist in wave form, and that wave encapsulates all of the different potentials of that particle. So we know that within the quantum realm, multiple potentialities exist before those potentialities collapse into one single finite thing, whether it be a particle or, in our case, we're assuming it is our physical reality. So it's basically understanding that this idea that manifestation teachers propose, basically that anything that you want to manifest already exists. This isn't simply just some esoteric concept. There is actually some evidence through quantum physics that there is, a realm where all potentialities do exist before they collapse into a physical finite position. So if you can wrap your head around that, it basically provides some confirmation that whatever it is that you're trying to manifest does exist. It just doesn't exist in physical form yet. It hasn't collapsed into physical reality. Now that's the theory behind it, but on a practical level, how can we feel in alignment with this reality that exists in the quantum field that isn't physically in front of us yet? So the law of attraction says that we need to feel our desire as if it has already happened. Now, this is what I feel like some people overcomplicate. I feel like people have this impression in their head that whatever it is that they're trying to manifest, whether it be a car, a relationship, money, whatever it is, that there is some specific exact thing that they have to feel that is perfectly in alignment with that thing, as if that thing has its very own unique feeling. And that may be true, but I don't think we have to make it this complicated. What I want you to do with whatever it is that you desire, ask yourself, why do you want to manifest that thing? What do you think that thing is going to make you feel? You likely want to manifest that thing because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way. For example, if you want to manifest money, it's probably because you want to feel secure, or because you want to buy things that are going to make you feel happy. So it comes down to happiness and security. If you want to manifest a relationship, for example, it's likely because you want to feel loved. Now, if you examine all of these different kind of desires, ultimately they all seem to boil down to very similar feeling. Basically, it's feelings of happiness, abundance, security, love, all of these just very general but positive feelings. Now, this is the key. Now, let's say you're trying to manifest a car. You do not need to somehow figure out what the exact frequency of a car is and align yourself to that. You simply need to think, oh, I want this car because this is going to make me feel happy, or whatever it is, and instead work on building those emotions. So basically all we need to do is things that are going to make us feel those positive emotions. Let's go back to manifesting a relationship, for example. If you want to manifest a relationship because you want to feel loved, then do things that make you feel loved already before having that relationship. So invest in yourself, for example, treat yourself to things, or make sure that you're taking care of yourself, whether it be through nutrition or other forms of self-care. Just do all these different things that make you feel loved. And then you're already going to be putting out the frequency of attracting a relationship. You're already emitting that love that it is that you're trying to attract. I think generally if we just focused on trying to feel those positive emotions, then we would attract a lot more, much more easily into our lives, because we just would be on a frequency where we would have those things. Because if you have the things that you desire, then generally you tend to feel good. Now, just a disclaimer here, I'm not saying that you can't feel negative emotions. I think it's incredibly important to feel our negative emotions. Whatever is causing them, we often have circumstances in our life that elicit negative emotions, and it's very important that we feel these and process them properly. And if we do that, then that paves the way for us to let those emotions go and instead start to build up the positive emotions into our life. Now, if you can actually visualize whatever it is that you want to desire, whether it be a car, a relationship, money, whatever it is, if you can actually visualize that thing really well and elicit the emotions that way, then I think that is amazing, and I think you should definitely manifest through doing that. However, if you're struggling with that, I think then what you should do instead is just focus in general on trying to elicit good emotions. Do whatever it is in life that makes you feel good. And then from that point where you are in a place of feeling really positive and empowered, then it will actually be easier to visualise the things that you do desire, because they won't seem as far reached as they maybe would if you're coming from a more negative state. And just remember, when you are working on building up these positive emotions, you need to have patience. When it comes to the law of attraction, it's not instant. We know this because we know that every thought we think does not just suddenly manifest into reality. And it's a very good job, because that would probably be quite disastrous. What actually happens is there's a delay, because it's whatever we put our attention on and really feed the energy to that manifests into our life. If you can maintain that state and build up that energy more and more, then eventually your reality should start to reflect that. So the message of this video is basically, it does not matter that you have never experienced whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. You do not need to know the specific feeling of it to be able to attract it into your life. All you need to do is firstly understand that it does exist in the quantum field. It exists as potentiality that hasn't yet manifested into the physical realm. And then the main thing that you need to do is just focus on building up feelings of feeling good, essentially. It's really that simple. If you feel good and you're putting out that good energy, that positive energy, then you will naturally attract good things into your life, because whatever it is that you desire, you would feel good if you had it. So if you put out the energy of feeling good, then you will naturally be a magnet to those things. So I really hope this video was helpful, and I wish you all the best in manifesting your desires. Thank you for watching.